Good evening all. So let's start today. I think the power cut has affected some of the students, but so anyway, so they can watch the recording. Let's proceed. Considering that sometimes they might join in the middle. Right. Okay. Last day we were discussing about the book, and I said that so it is better if you can read the book and come, because I'll be discussing that again and covering the missing topics that I couldn't cover that day. Okay, so let's go to the reading book today. So that is grade 11, chapter number 1, English medium reading book. Right, okay, so today is very important day because I'm going to cover the missing parts as well as, so I'll remember the things that we have learned during this lesson. So first lesson in our syllabus was programming. So this is, I think, our 8th day, day 8, or 8th day. So up to now, we learn about the programming, and I'm happy that we are at the end of the lesson. So within 2 more days, we will be finishing our programming lesson. Right. So then, so we learn about how to solve a program by developing an algorithm. First of all, we learn how can we analyze the program by analyzing the problems and all. We discuss about that. And also we discuss about developing an algorithm for step-by-step solution to solve a problem. Then also the alternative methods of solving the problem. So to solve this, we learn about 3 general control structures called sequence, selection, and repetition. Sequence is, I'm reminding again, sequence is where all the instructions are executed one after another in a chronological order, in an order, or in a simple way, in an order, right? Basically, executing instructions in an order or defined order. So that is sequence. So if you have a condition, based on that, if you have to select an alternative solution or alternative path, we call that selection. So there will be multiple paths. Among them, we will be selecting one, right? There are multiple, basically 2 alternatives. From that, we will be selecting one. So that is selection. We learned that also. Then the repetition. The repetition is the 3rd one, where we learn the same instructions or same set of instruction is repeated again and again and executed again and again. So that is basically the loops. Here, if this shows selection, and here this shows repetition, repeating the same instructions again and again. So that is it. And we learn unambiguous, simple way of representing an algorithm, that is using the flowchart. That is unambiguous, that is simple, easy to learn, easy to express, and it is standard. Everyone uses that. So we learn about the symbols, and then we have done some algorithms. We have converted sequence, selection, repetition related algorithms to sequence, selection, and repetition related algorithm to the codes. We learned that as well. Then we learn about, right? Then we learn about these alternative ways of writing loops and if-else. If-else basically come in under selection. The loops come in under repetition. We learn about that as well. Okay. The next. Okay, then converting these flowcharts to pseudocodes. You can see this has a repetition, so a while loop is used. Repetition means a cycle. So cycles are basically converted loops. Cycles means the arrows following the same path and it's coming to the beginning. That's a cycle. Here also you can see it's a cycle. So it is also a repetition, another repetition. So basically it's the same symbol. This kind of this diamond symbol is used for selection, repetition, both. Out of this selection, repetition. So if it forms a cycle, that is a repetition. If it is not forming a cycle, it is selection. Example, you can see this one is not this one forming a cycle, so repetition. This one is not forming a cycle, so selection. Why it's not forming? You can see arrows going this way, but no way to move up. Arrows going this way, but no way to go back. So that is simply a selection. Selection as arrows flow in two or multi directions, but the repetition, it has arrows follow in the same path and it's looping. It's a cycle. So we learned that. Finally, we came to this place and we started discussing about the Pascal language. Under the Pascal language, we discuss about these variables or identifiers, how to introduce an identifier. Identifier means a name given by the programmer. Programmer introduced names. Simply identifiers, you can tell that programmer introduced names. These names introduced by the programmer. Example, you can see here the year is introduced by the programmer. That is an identifier. That is an identifier. When you introduce an identifier, there are rules. Rule number one, need to start with capital or simple letter. Rule number one, need to start with capital or simple letter. Rule number two, you can include numbers, but need to be included in the middle or the end. But you can't include the numbers at the beginning. No way. You can't start that with a number. So special symbols can be used, but only the special symbol that can be used is underscore. Other than that, the other special symbols cannot be used. And it is not case sensitive, then when capital symbol doesn't matter here in the Pascal, right? But in other languages, even the case is matter. Python-like languages, you have to think about the capital symbol, but here it doesn't matter, right? Capital symbol will not matter. You can't include spaces, it is invalid. In between an identifier name, you can't use space. If you use space, that is invalid. If you use special symbol like this, invalid. If you use underscore, valid. Here, these are valid examples. Underscore valid, starting from name, letters, valid. Starting from numbers, invalid. Starting from special symbols, invalid. Starting or putting spaces in the middle, invalid. Starting with number, invalid. Start with special symbol, invalid. Start in a special, in between using a special symbol, invalid. And also remember that do not use reserved words as identifiers, then that will confuse. Do not use reserved word as identifiers. I repeat, do not use reserved words as identifiers, because these reserved words are there for special purposes, for special commands. That's why those are reserved. So you can't use them for your identifiers. Example, so try to create a folder in your desktop with the name com1. Do it now. Try to create a new folder in your desktop and name it as com1 without any spaces. What's the result? Dasuni, Timasha, can you tell me what's the result? Use your desktop, right click. Oh, I don't know whether you are joining mobile phone due to these power cuts. But if not, create a folder. Give the name com1 without any spaces and let me know the result. Yes, what is the result? Hello? Both of you are joining with mobile phones? Okay, I got one chat. Okay, you're joined from mobile phone, Timasha. Dasuni, what about you?
Yes, I'm joining with the mobile phone.
Okay, so join for this one. Okay, try this, but they try this, try to use com1 as the folder name. You won't be allowed to do that. The reason is it is a reserved word by Windows. It is a reserved word by Windows. Okay. Then, so this example is basically why I mentioned there. So Windows is use that com1 as a reserved word for port, communication port. So you will not be able to create a folder with that name. Right, then the standard data types in Python. Let's do small practical related to this and get to know about these data types and be familiar with these data types. So there are a few data types you can see. Okay, let's start the practical with Pascal online compiler. So here in the program, the first is the program name, and hello is also identifier, right? Program name is also identifier. It's not a variable, but it is also identifier. You can say data types, but no spaces, because identifier has no spaces. Then the variable section, here you have to introduce the variables. When introducing variables, you have to mention the data type. That's it. Here you can see how variables are introduced. You have to use var as the keyword. Var is a reserved word or keyword. After that, the identifiers. Okay, let's say you have identifier called number1, n1, and n2 is also identifier. Both are integers. Let's say you have another identifier called total, and that is also integer. You have average, identify average, that is real. Real means decimal numbers. You can see the third data type is real, right? Decimal numbers. Okay, let's use is female or is male, something like that. Okay. Another identifier is male, colon, and that the type is Boolean. Boolean means a logic value. One more. Char and string. Char is characters. Let's say your grade is a char. Then first name, last name, both are string. Okay, these are the data types available in Python. It's mentioned in your book. Okay, just introducing variables, not enough. Introducing variables like this is not enough. What you have to do? You have to assign them values. That is called declaration, not declaration, sorry, initialization. Here, this part is called declaration. So let me write here as a comment. Comment means just telling. This is just some information. This is declaration of variables. Comments are ignored by the compiler. Compiler comments ignore comments ganan ganne naha. The reason is this is just telling something to the reader. Reader ta mona hari kiyana vitara code reader will see this, but it will not be executed. Nothing, right? So declaration of variables. And the next part is after begin, that is initialization of variables. Let's say this part I'm writing Initialization. Initialization means giving values. Okay, giving values. N1 is equal to some number. N2 is equal to some number. This is called assignment operator. Assignment means assigning a value. Colon equal. Colon and equal is assignment operator. We call assigning some value. Assignment operators. Colon equal. Okay. The total assignment operator, I'm assigning N1 plus N2 into the total variable. Then the average is equal to total divided by 2. That is assigning. And then Ismail is, let's say, false. Char or grade, sorry, grade. You have to give that inside a single quotation, single letter, let's say grade A. And finally, first name, let's say first name equal the last name equal okay, something like this. Now we have initialized the variables. Finally, output. Output the values that we are going to do. It is a best practice to explain each and every section in your code. It is a good thing because the reader will understand the code very well when you explain that. The reader will understand this very well once you explain that. Okay, this is to the readers. Right, output the values. So you can use write ln. So let's output this nicely. You can just say 9-1, that will also output. Doesn't matter. So it will also output, write ln. So this will output. But the thing is, it's not really good. If you output like this, it's not really good. So the best thing is you can use with some description, something like this. Okay, let's write like this. Then you can see the value of this. If no errors, there are some errors. What is grade? Char. Character. Okay. Grade. Then what has happened to the grade? It doesn't matter. So identifier not found grade. Grade we have introduced. Char. Grade. So we have the variable character char. Oh, other way. Sorry. Grade is char. I have confused. Sorry. Grade is character. This is how you pair, right? Sorry, it's my mistake. Okay, now everything is okay. You can see 23 is printed, which is the first number 1. But this is not good. So what you have to do is you have to tell some meaning. Maybe number 1 equal, then give this. And it has some meaning. It says number 1 equal 23. Now let's copy and paste the same thing again and again and generate this code. Oh, sorry. Number 1 is this, and number 2 is number 2. Number 3, not number 3, sorry, total. Total here is the total. And average is equal to AVG. Ismail. That is the value of Ismail. Name Let's give the first name plus space plus last name, and full name will be given. Then just write a line. So which is, sorry, the grade is grade. Okay, all the variables we have displayed like this. Let's run it, and you can see all the outputs. Number 1, number 2, total, average, is male, and name, Dasun, and the grade. All these things will be there. But one mistake, it's not a mistake actually. You can see this one, 3.4 into 10 to the power 1. This is scientific notation. 3.4 into 10 to the power 1 means 34. 68 divided by 2 will be 34. But it is given as 3.4 into 10 to the power 1. That is too long. So what you can do is, when you print this, you can print 0 with 1 positions. Then you can see it's given as 34.0. If you see 0, 0, it will be printed as integer, right? 0, 0, then 45 or 34 kila kelimena. You can see 34 will be there. But if you are going to give like 0, 1, then only 1 decimal point. 0, 2 will be 2 decimal points. You can 34.00, 2 decimal points. Likewise, the decimal points you can select, you can define that. Okay, let's write down this quickly into your code. So let's go to your note and please write down this now. Introducing different data types by declaring variables, assigning values by initialization, and finally display those values. The code is here. You can just write down the area that we are going to do. This is bold and italic. This is what we are going to do, and the code is here. You can quickly write down this in your book and explain. It has all the comments, so it is self-explanatory. So be careful, write down this perfectly. I'm going to display this using some other font. So I like Codin font. Codin font is Courier. This one. This is for Codin because you can clearly see the code in this Courier font. Please write down this now. Right. The next part is, let's go to the book. Now you know the data types, right? Also the variable types and the constances. As I said, the constances are the data types. Okay, so not data types actually. Constances are similar to the variables, but only thing is, it's not changing the value during the program execution. The value will be fixed. So pi, max, these things can be given as constants. As you can see, const variable, const identifier, or const keyword is used to identify the constant. So it's not changing. And these values also has a name. Those are called literals. These values, you know, the values we assign here in this program, whatever the value we assign, I'm highlighting the 23, 45, this n, then 23, 45, A, Dasuni, Senaviratna, all these are values. We call them literals, right? So the data types are, these are data types. And these are our identifier variable names. And the values are called literals, right? The operators next. Arithmetic operators or algebra operators, you can take that as the first type of operator which does the operation. And I especially highlighted about two kind of operators, which is div and mod. So div basically dividing and giving you the integer answer. See this example, 20 divide by 6, the integer answer is 3. 20 divide by 6, the integer answer is 3. This හයෙන් බෙදුවම 3යි. So we are not going to write any decimal numbers after that. Not 3 point something, not something like that. So it's giving 3, the integer answer as well as the integer remainder. So what remains? The integer remainder. Okay, let's do some of these. And can you tell me the answer for this question? If I write like this, there are 2 numbers like this, and I'm going to write. Okay, tell me the answer. So if there are 2 numbers like this, and I'm going to write ln n1 plus n2 mod 5. So can you tell me the answer? Team can tell me the answer. You know the n1 and n2, the values you know, and I'm writing this. So what will be the answer? Which will happen first? Is it addition or is it modulus? Okay, so let's make it simple. I'm writing like this. Now tell me the answer. n1 plus n2 multiplied by 2. What is the answer? Tell me the answer. Quickly in the chat or in voice. You can tell me the answer in chat or voice. I'm waiting. Is it, what's the value? $15 seconds given. What is the value? N1, N2, this is multiplication, right? Asterisk means multiplication. So what is the value? Tell me without writing the code. Calculate, come on. Okay, so the value is 130, is it? Yeah. So what will happen first? The multiplication will happen first. N2 is 45, 45 into 2 is 90, 90 plus 23 is 113, that is correct. 130. Multiplication will happen first. And if I put mod 5, so then what will happen? Mod will happen first. The mod will give the remainder. Okay, 45 mod 5. What is the remainder? 45 mod 5. What is the remainder? Yes. Then what is the answer? What is the remainder and what is the answer? Tell me quickly. Hello. I think you have to be faster. Have to be faster. mod එකෙන් කියන්නේ පුතේ බෙදුවම පස්සේ ඉතිරි වුණ සිංහලෙන්ම මම කිව්වා. number එකක් බෙදුවට පස්සේ ඉතිරි වෙන ගාන. n2 mod 5 කියන්නේ 45 පහෙන් බෙදුවම ඉතිරි වෙන්නේ කීයද? 45 පහෙන් බෙදෙනවද? 45. Can you divide by 5? After dividing by 5, what is the remainder? So that will be added to n1 because this will happen first. So what is the answer? No. It is 23, correct. Why? 45 පහෙන් බෙදුනම ඉතිරි වෙන්නේ බිංදුවයි. 45 mod 5 is 0. Timasha, you have to answer. right? 45 on 5 is 0. When you divide by 5, the remainder will be 0. Then 0 plus 23 will be. Okay, if I change this to due, then what will happen? If I change this to due, what is the answer? I'm asking again. More troubles. The due means giving the value, integer value after division. 45 divided by 5. It's exactly divisible. Exactly divisible. You can divide. You will get integer answer. That integer answer plus 23 is simple. It is, yes, it is 32. So 45 divided by 5. 45 divided by 5. So answer is 9. 9 plus 23 is 32. Correct. Exactly. So understand these arithmetic operators as well as their behavior. Right? That is really required. Also, the precedence. Precedence means which will happen first, which will happen next, which will happen next. Likewise, the operator precedence. You have to identify that as well. Right? Identify the operators, operator precedence too. The comparison operators, very important thing. The comparison operators are also very important topic because that is where you are going to apply these logics, selection, if else are totally based on these comparison operators. Okay, are we going to write down this or can you remember this? I hope you can remember, right? If not, you can write down this. This is for the operator precedence, but okay, let's discuss. There are some examples in your book also. So let's discuss them now. So before that, let's learn about this comparison operators. There are two numbers, number 1, number 2. And okay, so this is not required. This is not required. These two numbers, I'm going to compare them and I'm telling if number 1 greater than number 2. Then you can say write ln the largest number is n1 because n1 is larger than n2. You can say n1 is the largest number. Else you can say write ln the largest number is n2. Let's execute and you can see here the largest number is 45. Let's change this to 230 and you'll see that the largest number is 230. Let's change this to 450. Now the largest number will become 450. Okay, no need to write the largest number twice. You can just optimize this by just writing without write ln. I'm just writing the largest number is. Write will keep the printed keep the cursor in the same line. Right keyword same line එක cursor එක නවතිනවා. Right ln will go to the next line. So I'm keeping right ln for the next line, right? So simply I'm printing. So for this is common. What is common? The largest number is, that statement is common. Then it prints either n1 or n2. If n1 is large, n1 will be printed otherwise. So this is a short way of doing the same thing. You can see the largest number is 450. And if I change something here, then you can see the largest number is 2300. Likewise, you can see that this is the optimized way of writing that. Okay, similar way you can write the smallest number by comparison. Okay, you can say if this n2 less than this one and the smallest. Okay, you can see the largest number is 2300, the smallest number is this one. So giving both. This is how you use comparison operators. This is how you use comparison operators. Okay, less than, greater than, and equal to, not equal to. These are also important. Let's check equal to operator. To use equal to operator, I'm using another variable, that is say option. Option is integer variable. And I'm asked, sorry, what's this integer? And I'm asking the options. I'm asking the options by giving a point. Just say right. Select option. 1 is morning. 2 is evening. 3 is maybe night. Something like this. And I'm reading this into a variable. Read this into my option variable. After reading based on the option, if option equal to 1, you can read, then write ln good morning. This is where the option equal. So please note that this colon equal is assignment operator. Colon equal දෙමුත් සමාන කිරීමක් වෙන්නේ. නිකම්ම සමාන ලකුණ නම්, if it is just equal, it's checking whether is it equal. It's a question. සමානද කියන එක තමයි සමාන ලකුණෙන් බලන්නේ. හැබැයි colon එකයි සමාන ලකුණයි දැම්මොත් සමාන කරනවා. This is assigning and this is checking. That's the difference. You write ln good morning, then else if you can just copy and paste this. Else if and else, this is nested if else. Okay, option is 1, this option is 2, then you can say good evening. Let's say option is 3, then good night. An option is some other option, you can see invalid option. Okay, now let's run it and to be painting. Okay, the first thing, I need to give the option here some space also, otherwise it's unclear. Stop. Colon space, and then run it. It's giving the largest number, smallest number here. Then asking select the option. I'm selecting option number 1, says good morning. And let's say I'm selecting option number 3, it says good night. And I'm selecting option number 10, which is not there, so it says invalid option. Right? Option number 1, option number 2, option number 3 are valid, but option number 4 is invalid, saying that. I hope this part is clear to you. So let's write down this quickly. Please write down comparison operators as the heading in your note. Comparison operators. Bold, underline. Let's move to a new page. Paste it. Okay, only this. So let's go there. Let's copy it. Back to your note and paste it. Okay, please try this quickly. Again, I'm using my favorite coding font, which is Korea. Okay. Please write down this related to comparison operators. Now we know about these two options, so we learn about this comparison operators as well as, so other operators are also valid, right? You can check for the not equality and also for less than or equal, less than, greater than or equal, greater than, all these options are available to you. So similarly, how we have used, similar to that, we can use that also. The logical operators, we learned this in grade 10. Hope you can remember the OR gate, AND gate, and NOT gate, the basic logic gates. The functionality is applied here. When you check two conditions, okay, rainfall is greater than 56 and temperature is less than. If both options are correct, if rainfall is greater than 56 and the temperature also less than this. So likewise, if both conditions are true, only it will return true. AND gate, the specialty we learn, if all are true and will output true. If all, so let's say there are three conditions, then all three must be true. තුනක් තිබ්බොත් තුනම true වෙන්න ඕන. හතරක් තිබ්බොත් හතරම true වෙන්න ඕන. That is the nature of AND gate. If all are true and will return true. But other hand, OR gate, if all are false, only it will return false. Yeah, false දෙන්නේ ඔක්කොම false නම් විතරයි. එකක් හරි හරි නම්. At least one condition is true, it will return true. That is the nature of OR gate. ආපහු බලමු AND gate එකේ nature එක මොකක්ද? All true නම් true. ඔක්කොම true නම් තමයි true. OR gate, all false, then false. සියල්ල false නම් ඔක්කොම බොරු නම් තමයි බොරු කියන්නේ. එකක් හරි ඇත්ත නම්. So let's say you have 100 conditions. Out of 100 conditions, one is true. Then OR gate will return. 100ක් conditions තියෙනවා 99ක්ම බොරු. හැබැයි එකක් ඇත්ත. 99ක් බොරු වෙලා එකක් ඇත්ත වුණත් O එක ඇත්ත. Okay, true කියලා දෙන්න. And not will simply invert. And you can see there's a table explaining the operator precedence, and let's discuss some questions related to this operator precedence now. So you can see not get the highest priority, then not is actually unary operator. තනියෙන් not කියන එක එයා විතරයි ඉන්නේ. Not දෙකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. AND වෙන්න දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා. අඩුම ගානේ. O වෙන්න දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා. O need to, AND need to, but not need only one. So it's unary operator. So it's given the first priority. Actually, the brackets first. Bracket should come first. Bracket වලට පස්සේ තමයි මේක. Then the asterisk. So these are equal level, right? Mod, div, and multiply, divide, equal level. Then plus, minus, or in equal level. Then the comparison operators come last, right? Okay, let's discuss the precedence questions. Some of these questions related to precedence. The first question says 5 plus 14 mod 4. Actually here 14 mod 4 will happen because the plus is next level. Mod is upper level. Mod will happen first. 14 4 බෙදුනම 14 mod 4. What is remaining? Remaining is 2. 14 divided by 4. 14 වලට 4 වත් 3ක් තියෙනවා. 4 වරක් 3 12යි ඉතිරි 2යි. That 2 will be added to 5 and the results will be 7. See it again. So this one 7 div 2. 7 දෙකෙන් බෙදුවම දෙවරක් 3 6යි. එහෙනම් 3ක් තියෙනවා. ඉතිරිය වැඩක් නැහැ නේ දශම එන්නේත් නැහැ. So answer is 3. 7 divided by 2, answer is 3. 3 plus 3 is 6. Here both are equal level, right? You can see the multiplication, division, everything is same level. If both are equal level, ඔක්කොම සමාන level නම්, if both are in all are in the equal level, evaluation will happen left to right. So you can put asterisk there and maybe using a pencil you can put a note. If operators are in same level, the evaluation happen left to right. So that is special point. You should know that, otherwise you will confuse. If operators are in the same level, then evaluation will happen or will be considered from left to right. So very special point. If operators are in same level, the evaluation will be considered from left to right. So left to right, first division comes. So when you divide 16 by 4, the answer is 4. 4 into 2 is 8. If you do multiplication first, it's wrong, right? Multiplication 4 into 2 is 8. 16 divided by 8 is 2. It's wrong. It's not the way. First division, 16 divided by 4 first. 16 divided by 4 is equal to 4. multiplied by 2, so it's 8. Here the brackets, so bracket will first. Bracket will happen first. So bracket ඇතුලේ මොකක්ද? Mod and comparison. The mod is higher priority. Mod will happen first. 8 mod 2 is after දෙකෙන් බෙදුවම ඉතිරි බිඳුවයි. 8 divided by 2 and remainder is 0. 8 divided by 2, remainder is 0. 0 less than 5, no. 0 greater than 5, no. Not of that. Not of that is false. Sorry, not this is false. Not of false is true. And here, two conditions. 4 greater than or equal to 4, yes. It's not greater than, but equal to 4. And 7 greater than 9, no. Not of that is true. So true and true is true. Understand how evaluation and brackets will given the first priority. Then the other things comes. Okay, I hope that can be understood easily. Now we have explained this very well. Up to page number 24 we discuss, and here this part, right? So identifying the parts of the program. Add num is identifier given to identify the name of the program, and program is a keyword. Y is a keyword to declare the variables. We learned that carefully. Then the begin says the starting point and end say the ending point. End will be ended with a dot. There will be some ends in the middle will be ended with semicolon, right? Method both. For loop එකේ end එක, while loop එකේ end එක, if එකේ end එක, එහෙම මැද්දේ තිබ්බොත් that end will be end followed by the semicolon, right? End එකට පස්සේ semicolon එක. But මේකේ end එක dot එක, final end of the program. Then you can see the comments. Actually, two ways to include comments. So one is the curly braces. We learned that there's another way, the bracket and asterisk. So let's write comment in that way too. How? Okay, you can say bracket asterisk. This is also a comment. This is a comment. So this should come first, right? According to the readability. This is a comment and this is also a comment. Both are acceptable as comments. Comments are italic and orange color, you can see here. Those will be ignored by the compiler when you run this. Nothing will happen. ඒවා දැම්මයි කියලා අලුත් දෙයක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ අපිට. මොකද comments වලින් කරන්නේ code කියවන එක්කෙනාට කියවන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න දානවා විතරයි. Or to temporarily disable some code. දැන් මට මේ code කැලලක් වැඩ කරන්න ඕන නැහැ. මෙතන ඉඳන් වැඩ කරන්න ඕනේ. I can disable the code by using this comment. එතකොට මෙතනින් උඩ ඉඳන් මේ lines ටිකේම codes එකක්වත් වැඩ කරන්න. So I can temporarily disable the code by commenting. That is another usage of comment, right? Two things. Why? To explain the program to coding people, or the second thing is to temporarily disable a code. I think this is important, so we can write down, right? You can write down this. Comments can be used to explain the code or temporarily disable the code segment without deleting. Okay. Then actually we learned the difference between read and read-ln. Read is basically reading the current line, and read-ln will read and go to the next line. right? Read functions used to get input. If you want to read, so here, and read from a new row. Read existing row, read will read. So when you write ln, you have to use read ln. If you write ln and get something, you have to use read ln. But so basically, if you read, it will read the current line. That is also acceptable. Read ln. So use it and see. Read will read the current line. Basically, it's there and reading the current line. Read ln will try to read from the new line, new row. Okay, write is also same. Write has two formats, that is input, output. Read is input and write is output. Write has two formats, write and write ln. And I said about this assignment operator, which is going to use to assign some value. For declaring, you are using only the colon. Declaration is introducing. Assignment or initialization is putting values. Right? Declaring means introducing. I think we wrote that, right? Declare, here. Declaration of variables, let's write down. Declaration of variables means introducing variable with an identifier name and data type. Initialization of variables given values to declare variables. Giving values to declared variables. It's very important things. Okay. So I said to look at least up to page number 26, right? So let's finish up to 26. Thereafter, I'm not going to discuss about that again, right? Because I have already discussed that, revised that, also summarized that, and now today also I went through that and fill the gaps or holes. So hereafter, I will not be discussing that part again. So I'll be taking this for the examination questions, but till then I will not be introducing again. So because we have already done. So today is very important day, but I don't know the people, students, so they missed. As O-level students, you have to be more responsible than grade 8, 6 students. You know what? So grade 6, 8 students, 6, 7, 8 students, they know that there is a power cut. So they charge their devices and do everything possible to come to the class. But I know the grade 11 students, 10 students, they do everything possible to not to come to the class by showing some excuses. But that doesn't give you good knowledge. Because if you are not going to learn continuously, if you're not going to come to the class continuously, it's very difficult for you to learn. Okay, let's move back and we discuss about this. Then the selection, we discuss about if else statements, pseudocode as well as. So this is simple if else. It has only if. Then the else condition will give you a chance to write alternative path. Here, this yes condition and no condition, nothing. No. Yes එකේදී මේක වෙනවා. No condition එකේදී මොකක්වත් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේකේදී if එක විතරක් ඇති. If is enough. You can see if n greater than this, print n. That is enough. Because if part, yes part only has something to do. Print n. But in other hand, you have both yes side and no side. You can see මෙතන yes side එකේ විතරයි දෙයක් තියෙන්නේ. But here you have yes side, no side, both. Then comes the else. If yes, you do something else. The no side, you do some other thing. This is the second level. We discuss about that as well. Then the third level, which is having more conditions. Get marks. If this is page number 27, by the way, anyway. So let's discuss that as well and finish. So get marks. If marks greater than 25, 75, do something. If not, do something else. If not, do something else. If not, do something else. If not, something. So this has if, else, if, else, if, else, if, and else. Here, if, else, if, else, if, else, if, and if, else. Right? It is multiple if else statement. You have to try this today. So that is page number 28. You have to try this. Try to do this and get the experience. If you have any question, you can come and tell me next day. Okay, considering the participation of the class, I'm thinking of finishing it now rather than discussing everything. Otherwise, it will be a big damage to absent students. But so I have to value the present student. That's why I have done the lesson without doing anything else. Because I have to give the first priority to the student who present in the class, not to the absent students. Anyway, with that, I'll be finishing for today, but the next day we will discuss in the other part of the book. So week after the next week, we can finish the syllabus related to our programming lesson. Then good night. See you all next week.
Thank you, sir.
You come back.